Hello, everyone. Welcome to Good Journeys Tarot. This is Rosemary, and today we're doing a VR to Simon at the Hermit's Cave of my top 5 favorite decks of 2020. Now, these are all decks that I received in 2020. Some of them may have been released in previous years, but they're new to me. And so I'm going to be giving you these in the order that I received them. And I will be having an honorable mention like almost everyone else has had, simply because it's a deck that I received most recently that I think I really love and that I'm going to work with a lot. So let's just jump right in. 2020 has been a rough year on a lot of levels for many, many people. But for the first time in my life, I have not been living paycheck to paycheck. I actually am in a good place financially right now, so I can occasionally splurge on things that I enjoy, like tarot. So this year, my tarot collection has doubled. Part of that's probably stress shopping and during the pandemic, and part of that's because I can finally afford to buy things that I want. Um, and so these are only six of the mini decks that I got this year. These are the ones that I've worked with the most, that I've really become attached to, and that I foresee working with a lot in the years to come. So the first one is going to be the Lily White Tarot. I received this in February, and I did do a walkthrough of this deck, which is absolutely gorgeous. This is probably one of my all-time favorite Sun cards. So has this beautiful floral pattern on the back and these vibrant colors. This is probably one of the best Eight of Pentacles I have ever seen. It's a lovely deck. Just such gorgeous imagery. This is probably the closest I have ever had to an animal deck until recently. It's just gorgeous. Look at that wand. Oh, yes. So this is a deck that is really probably going to be used a lot again this next coming year, because it really fits in with the theme that I have going for next year with my tarot studies. Next year is going to be a depth year for me, so I probably will not be bringing in many new decks, unless they are indie decks, which I think will be going out of print. I actually did buy a new deck this week for the first time in a long time, because I had been following on Instagram this deck creation process for a while now, and somehow I missed the post where the pre-orders came through. And yesterday I saw an post on Instagram that they were down to 3 decks and they didn't know when they were going to publish it again. And I was like, I didn't even know it went out for pre-orders. So I had to grab that deck. And we'll be looking at that deck later on down the road. Oh, here's the High Priestess. So that is the first one. And that is the Lily White, which is by Celia Melisville. And just love that deck. There is a darker version of this deck, which didn't appeal to me quite as much. This second deck is also from Europe, and it is the New Choice Tarot de Marseille. This is my go-to Marseille deck at the moment. I just love the artwork. It is very much traditional Marseille as far as how the pips are drawn, and they are just gorgeous. They've been decorated with these flowers that have specific meanings. But now the courts and the major arcana, while keeping the same imagery, is a different art style. And so it just makes it more appealing to me. This is specifically based on the same coloration as a traditional Marseille deck, but the images are inspired by kind of 80s club scenes. So there's a lot of kink and LGBT representation in these cards. This is just a phenomenal star, if I've ever seen one. And the star is one of those cards that just needs to be perfect for me in a deck. Let's see if we can't find our Chariot. Oh, look at this gorgeous, gorgeous Ace of Pentacles. Love those colors. Okay, here it is. Our Chariot card. Two guys harnessed with the horse heads on them. It's beautiful. And I love working with it. There's our Two of Cups. And let's see, another card that I want to show you in here would be the traditional Two of Pentacles, if I can find it real quick. No such luck. Okay. Oh, here it is. And of course, with the name of the artist, the year, and all of that on here. Just like most of them. So yeah, so that's one of my favorites for 2020. This New Choice Tarot de Marseille. Now, I do have a more traditional deck that I use when I'm studying coursework and working with videos online to learn the Marseille. But this is the one that I read with primarily. So those both came in February of last year. This is the deck I got in March. This Might Hurt. And if you followed me on Instagram, you've seen me rave about this deck and how beautiful it is and how inclusive. And, you know, there's only one thing that I don't like about the deck, which you probably already know by now. And that's how all the horses were replaced with motorcycles. So, but I can get past that because these images are so gorgeous. I mean, every one of them so representative of modern life, but not being so specific that like in 10 years you're going to look at it and go, wow, this is so dated. And believe me, there are decks like that out there. They're so specific to a moment in time that, you know, give it a few years, they'll be dated. This Judgment card's not my favorite. I'm kind of have an aversion to Egyptian representation. I don't know why. It does give a great reading of what Judgment is. But I think if you're going to replace the Christian imagery in the tarot, why not replace it with something that is non-religious instead of another religion? I don't know. I didn't get that because all of the other cards are really didn't diverge that direction. There's no other Egyptian imagery in the deck. So, but yeah, just this is a powerful card, but I just look at it and go, that woman's gonna die. You know, I just yeah, I can't get over the whole replacing horses with motorcycles thing. I mean, one or two, fine, but every single one, it just makes no sense. Horses are still part of modern life. Love this Temperance card. One of my favorite cards in the tarot. Yeah. So this Might Hurt. Great deck. Love it. It's probably my go-to RWS. You know, if I'm not going to read with an actual Rider-Waite-Smith deck. The other deck, which everybody has seen 100 times, and this is deck number 4, also received in March, is, of course, the Ride or Wait deck. This is a deck which is completely devoid of esoteric imagery and is basically depictions of modern life. And it's a linen cardstock, so it shuffles beautifully. I love this deck. It really is just great for everyday reading. Just the way it shuffles and the feel and the images themselves are beautiful. Most of them are based on the RWS, but they've removed all the esoteric and religious imagery. So you get a much more everyday feeling to them. Yeah, I'm not going to show you all of them. Some of them were simplified a bit, like these Two of Cups. This is a very representative deck. There's a lot of non-gender conforming characters like this queen. And there's also a king, I believe the wands, that is the same way. But at the same time, the diversity is a little bit hidden because all of the people are stylized in this manner. But you can tell by their hair and by their facial expressions, their different racial ethnicities. Look at that hangman. New point of view, suspension. Yeah. So yeah, this is one of my favorites. Oh, the wheel. Look at that wheel. Great choice for a wheel that has no, esoteric or religious imagery. Yeah. Just love this deck. Work with this deck almost daily. Um, so the next deck actually is one that I've not gotten to work with as much as I would like, though I've been studying it for 2 years, waiting for it to arrive. And that, of course, is the Bone, Stone, and Earth Flesh. We all know the story behind that. If you don't, just Google it. It did take quite a while to get to us, but the final product is just gorgeous. I think this gilding just set this deck off. I was really hoping when she said that she had a surprise that she was going to gild it in a really great, awesome color, and that was perfect. So these images are just gorgeous. This is another deck like the Lily White that will work well with my projects for next year. So it'll be getting used much more next year than it has since I got it, I guess, in October or thereabouts. So just the best Five of Cups ever. Gorgeous. And Notorian's artwork is just wonderful. There's that Nine of Swords. We get that nightmare effect, that anxiety and everything, but just from that single image. It's almost like that how they do posters for horror movies, I've said before, where they just show you a mask or, a skull or whatever the case may be. Yeah, this is a beautiful deck. I love this card. I had to get the vinyl sticker of this card to go on my laptop. But yeah, so that's the Bone, Stone, and Earth Flesh. Really looking forward to working with it more next year and spending time with it in readings. Like I said, we've had access to these images for 2 years, and so I've been looking at them probably once a month since then too, and studying them. So I'm very familiar with them. It's nice to finally have them in format so that I can actually do readings. So it'll be one of my go-to decks for next year for sure. I still have to find a way to store it because it was a side-by-side box, and I just don't like separating my deck for storage. I feel like it breaks the energy of the deck. So still working on that. And finally, our honorable mention. And I've shown this on both YouTube and Instagram before. It's only recently arrived, but I'm in love with it for a few different reasons. And so I'll probably continue to work with it a lot this next year. And that is the Lost Hollow Tarot, which was released this year. It was a Kickstarter. I did not get on the Kickstarter. Fortunately, I grabbed one of the last copies in the first print run before they went out of stock. But I think that they're probably going to they'll reprint them. Pixel Occult tends to have all of his decks on his website, but they may go out of stock and then he orders more or whatever. Maybe I don't know. I did edge this in this red that matches the red on the front of the cards and on the back of the cards. So yeah, it turned out really well. Pixel Cult said, "Oh yeah, that read so much better than the one I had," and I was so excited because I think this is probably the best modification that I've ever done to a deck. It just turned out perfectly, and I think it's because I switched the type of ink I was using. Usually, I use a glittery color of ink, like silver, gold, or a glittery red or whatever. This is actually a chalk ink. And so it just really looks beautiful. So it gives it that matte finish. And it went really great on this linen cardstock. And so that's one of the things that makes this deck so appealing to me is that linen cardstock. Decks that are linen cardstock are just divine to work with. So this deck was a combination of the RWS and the Thoth, especially RWS imagery, but it also has the Thoth keywords, and you'll see some Thoth influences throughout. It came with a 2 8s and 2 11s, so that you could switch them out, either strength and adjustment or strength and justice. They chose not to rename the strength card Lust for various reasons. But the images are just gorgeous, and there are only three colors: black, white, and red. And if you don't count the white, which is the background, there's only two colors. Just gorgeous. This is the full card. It's a little bit dark, but just gorgeous. I mean, look at that. Look at that temperance. I am choosing to work with the Thoth cards. So this is going to have adjustment in it, and then the strength as number 11. And if I can find it, I'll show you the strength card real quick. It's a gorgeous image. It's unlike any that I've seen in any other decks. And it's one of the reasons I chose to work with the Thoth-based cards for this. I do love this Three of Swords. It's a beautiful image. Let's see, where is my friend? There's the adjustment card. Beautiful. And where is that strength card? Oh, here it is. Okay. Yeah, I just loved this image. It's different than the traditional images that you see for strength. Gorgeous. I love the reflection. So looking forward to working with this more. That's why it's my honorable mention, because I did not have it long enough to really work with it adequately yet. But I know that I'm going to be using it a lot, simply because of the way it was all put together is just gorgeous. So those are my 5 favorites from 2020, as well as an honorable mention. So tell me, what are your favorite decks that you've worked with this year? I will be posting a video in a couple of weeks about my plans for next year and what I'll be doing. I've hinted at a little bit of that over on my Instagram already, but I'm going to show everyone that work, which has already been in progress, prepping for next year. Like I said, it's going to be a depth year and probably not going to be purchasing as many decks, though I actually have 4 decks on order from earlier in this year that have been delayed. So we will be doing walkthroughs of those as they come in, and I will be doing responses to other videos I see. But for the most part, I'm going to be focusing on a program of study that I've been putting together this year for next year. So this is Rosemary again. Until next we meet, good journeys.